why your business needs a Google Business Profile account, which was formerly known as Google My Business. This is a little snapshot when somebody Googles something in your area of how you pop up a little bit bigger on a Google search. And people can directly click on your website. They can see your business hours and see your phone number right off the bat. So it's very important to have one, and I'm going to show you how to get one set up. You'll want to make sure that you don't have one already. It sounds kind of like a silly thing to say, but I have run into this a lot where clients that contact us for different services that we offer either don't know that they have one or somebody else might have set one up for them, and then no one's managing that. So to make sure that you don't have one, you actually just go Google yourself. So this particular client, I have Googled them and they do not have a GMB account. If they did, it would be showing up here instead of this map pack. So for instance, if you don't know what Google My Business Profile looks like, this is it right here. So I've actually Googled REACHRIGHT Studios, and so this is our business profile here. And this is what I mean why it's pretty important for your business to have one. Right off the bat, I can go to the website, I can get directions from Google, I can save it if I want to, or I can just call if I'm on my mobile device. It gives me the address right away, it tells me what their hours of operation are, and any other thing. Sometimes you get other business information like a description or something. And then also you can also see reviews pretty quickly. So this is a pretty good snapshot for somebody when they are Googling, if they're looking for a church in their area or lunch near them, you want to have a GMB profile to pop up pretty quickly. So let's go set this one up since this client doesn't have one. So we're going to just go to google.com/business. I already have quite a few accounts, but if you don't, you will be creating an account, and of course, with everything Google, please make sure that you are using the correct Gmail account. Everything with Google is linked, so if you use the wrong Gmail account, you'll have it under the wrong account. So I'm going to add a business. So we're going to just add a single business, and I'm going to pull this up on my other screen here. I've got all of this client's information here because we're going to need to enter everything. So let's do that. All right, so it's going to obviously check and see if you have an account too. So I am looking for So here we go. Okay, this business profile has been claimed. So it's not showing up here. So even the client wasn't sure if they had one. So, but this is telling me that they do. Now, if somebody already has a business profile, like this is for protection, right? So that you can't come in and somebody can't just say, oh yes, we're closed or we've moved. Obviously, Google wants to make sure that somebody is approving changes on the account. So this email address, for privacy, obviously it's not going to show you everything, but this is going to say that, hey, this has already been verified by somebody, and if you want access, you need to request it. If this account was not created yet, you'd be starting from scratch and adding everything in. So I'm going to request access, and this is going to just tell, I'm going to let them know, yes, they can see my name so that they know who is trying to find them. And then I'm going to submit that. Now with the GMB account, they should receive this at that email address that was shown. And then what that's going to do is whoever has access to that can just say yes or no to my request. So again, this is a security thing that prevents people from just changing your business information or getting into your account. If you didn't have one, then you would just be entering your address, business information, and then once we get into this account, then I'm going to kind of give you a tour of how to get things set up. Even if this account has already been set up and someone's managing it on a regular basis, my job is to go in and make sure that their business hours are correct, that they have good photos in here. REACHRIGHT isn't going to be the best example for this, just because we're not sitting in an office, and this isn't a church where you're gonna have a lot of building, a lot of people, there's nothing to see. So because of that, but you wanna have a handful of photos, you wanna make sure that your website link is correct, that everything is the way that we want it. Because again, this is the first impression of how people are potentially going to find you and see where you're located and check out your information. So I am going to wait for that request to go through, and then once I get access to it, we will restart again and walk you through the account information. So this is the email that I received that the client let me in. So we're going to go get started. We're going to log back into the account here. So this is kind of the information that we want to check. So obviously if you were setting this up from the beginning, you wouldn't have anything in here. So you would need to be adding all of your information. Your address, what areas you service, your business hours, etc. You know, there are times where people do put in, they would suggest a change. Like if they've been there and they noticed you were closed, they might mark, hey, that the business hours may have changed, or this may not be the right location. This is where you would review everything and accept that. So that's something that we check. If there are times where you're closed certain days, you add those in for special occasions. This is really just where you're putting all of the information that you have about your business. So even here, they've put a description in here about the church. So again, if this was not set up by the client, this is what we go in and do. We're setting up, making sure that everything is correct. How do we want this listed? This is something too that we would compare to their website. For instance, if their website says east, we would want to fix that. We want to make sure that everything is consistent so that Google understands this is the same entity. It's not a different location just because it's spelled out differently. So I'm going to go back in and check that really quick. Okay, I double checked their address and that's correct. All the information in here is the way that they want it. Something else that we'll look at is making sure that they have pictures. Now, this particular client meets at a school, so they won't have like location pictures. So let's see, they do have their logo in here, which is great, and they do have meeting pictures of church life, which is what people want to see. So obviously, if they had more photos, I would suggest we add those, just showing other ministries. They've added a video in here. Customers or clients, you know, visitors can also add things to your GMB account. So sometimes you'll want to obviously keep an eye on some of those things. Sometimes people add pictures you don't necessarily want, or they're not the most flattering of photos. So you wouldn't want those to be like your cover photo or showing up pretty high up here in the list. You would want those pushed back. So that's something else to kind of monitor. Now, you can monitor the users on your account. So if you need somebody else helping you with this to keep track of things, you can add other people that are involved in your organization, because that's kind of a big deal. Like, you'll be getting reviews, people will be leaving you reviews, and people do send messages. So as we looked at, let's go back when I showed you our Google My Business account. So because I obviously manage this one, it looks a little bit different, but if I wanted to ask a question, if I was just a customer, or I wanted to know, do you have something in stock, or what ministries do you have, anything, you can ask a question here, and that sends a message to your Google My Business account. So they don't have messaging turned on, so we'll go ahead and turn that on. This is a really good way for people to reach out, and I have had a lot of our clients actually get little messages, just people asking about random things that either they didn't take the time to look at their website, or it may have been a question or about a ministry or something that they didn't see on the website. So this is just a good way for people to be able to communicate with you without having to make a phone call if they're not comfortable doing that yet. So again, you can also make posts in here. So these are more like an announcement. So I've had clients in the past that had like a preschool, for instance, and registration has opened up. So they would make a post talking about registrations open from this day to this day, or if their location has moved. Really any sort of like announcement that you would want to make, you can create a post in here. So I just like to make sure that our clients know how to use their account and why this is useful, right? Because again, if this is the first thing that someone's going to potentially see before they visit and go to your website, we want to make sure that everything is correct so that when they do reach out, they get a hold of you. Reviews are a big deal. Okay, so Google really wants to see that you are getting that you're getting reviews, and B, that you're replying to them. So, like for instance, for this client, what I'm going to suggest that they do, even though some of these are pretty old, we want to make sure that we reply to all of these. Whether it's just a thanks for your review or so glad you enjoyed yourself, eventually you're going to get a negative review. Everybody does. When you do, obviously, it's just how you handle it. I've seen really great replies to reviews, and I've seen some really bad ones. So that's just something to keep track of. Google wants to see if you're getting reviews. That's also obviously a great thing. But then again, if you're not replying to them, that kind of shows Google that you're not paying attention to your customers. Customers are taking the time to give you 5 stars or give you a 2-star and say why they didn't like their visit or what was wrong with your product. So it's like this. It's really great to have you then go back in to say thanks so much for taking the time for writing us a review or addressing if they had an issue. So reviews, messages, photos, and then obviously your info. Setting all that up, making sure it's correct, and then occasionally going in here so that we can make sure if someone has done submitted some updated information that we get that, make sure that all of that's correct. So this is the quick review on your Google My Business profile or Google Business Profile Manager, why you need one and how to monitor it.